The soft California morning light filtered through the sheer curtains of the Curry home in Atherton, one of the most private and peaceful neighborhoods in the Bay Area. Birds chirped outside, and the smell of brewed coffee mingled with faint echoes of children's laughter. Cannon running around the hallway, Riley teasing Ryan over who got the last blueberry pancake. It was a normal morning in the Curry household, a good one. Stephen sat at the long kitchen island, dressed down in a Warriors hoodie and grey joggers, sipping from his personalized mug that read Chef Curry. Aisha moved gracefully between counters, humming as she packed snacks into lunchboxes. The kids were about to leave with their nanny, and Steph was looking forward to a rare, free day. No media obligations, no gym, just rest. He grabbed his phone to check messages, group chats with his teammates, a few updates from his charity foundation. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then he saw it, Instagram message request, Madison Taylor. His thumb froze mid-scroll. For a moment he just stared at the name. Madison. He hadn't heard that name in over a decade. He tapped the message slowly, almost cautiously. Hey, Steph, I'm not even sure you'll see this. It's been 15 years, huh? I just wanted to say hi. No drama, no agenda. I've been thinking about you lately. Hope you're doing well. His chest tightened. Madison Taylor, his high school girlfriend, from Charlotte, North Carolina. The girl who used to wait for him after every basketball practice in her old Jeep. The one who brought him homemade muffins before home games and cried on his shoulder the night he didn't make varsity as a freshman. She wasn't just a teenage crush. She was his first real connection, his emotional anchor during those turbulent years before college. But that was a different life, one that ended when Steph left for Davidson and Madison stayed behind to attend UNC Chapel Hill. There was no fight, no betrayal, just time, distance, and dreams pulling them in different directions. He'd moved on, or at least he thought he had. Everything okay? Aisha asked gently, placing a lunch bag into Ryan's backpack. Steph quickly locked his phone and offered a distracted smile. Yeah, just a message from someone back home. He kissed her on the cheek and helped Cannon tie his shoelaces. But his mind was no longer in the room. The past had come knocking, quietly, unexpectedly, and it shook something loose inside him. As the house emptied and silence returned, Steph sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the message again. He hesitated. For a long time, he clicked on Madison's profile. She had only a few photos, sunsets, a cat, a coffee shop in Chapel Hill, and one recent picture of her smiling with a young boy. No husband, no glamour, no thirst traps or influencer. Filters. Just Madison. After nearly 20 minutes of staring at a blinking cursor, Steph finally typed, "Wow, this caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to hear from you. It's been forever. Hope everything's okay on your end." He stared at it again, then pressed send. His heart thudded harder than it had before any playoff game. What was he doing? He loved Aisha. His family was his world. But that message, it wasn't just a nostalgic note. It carried a weight, a history, a spark of something unresolved. And somewhere deep down, Steph knew this was just the beginning. It had been 2 days since Stephen replied to Madison's message. He hadn't told anyone, not his manager, not his brother, and especially not Aisha. At first, he convinced himself it was harmless, just a reply to an old friend. But deep down, he knew better. It wasn't just the message, it was how it made him feel, and that was the part he couldn't explain. Monday evening, after a long afternoon of filming a promo shoot for Under Armour, Stephen finally got a break. He stepped outside the studio and checked his phone. There it was. Madison. "I'm glad. You replied. I almost didn't message you. I didn't want to mess anything up. I've been going through a rough time. Seeing you on TV reminded me of a version of myself I've lost." Steph exhaled slowly, his thumb lingering over the screen. "What's going on?" he typed back. "Are you okay?" She replied within minutes. "Life just didn't go as planned. I got married too young. Divorced 5 years later. I'm a single mom now. My son's name is Eli. He's 9. I love him more than anything, but it gets lonely sometimes. And seeing you still being you, it brought back all the good things. I don't expect anything. I just wanted to feel connected to someone who once made me feel seen. Steph sat in his parked SUV, staring blankly at the dashboard. His thoughts swirled like a storm. This wasn't just nostalgia anymore, it was vulnerability. Madison was reaching out not just to reminisce, but to reconnect with a version of the past that gave her comfort. And oddly, he understood that, because a part of him felt it too. He didn't realize how long he'd been sitting there until his phone buzzed again. This time, it was Aisha. "You okay? Kids are asking when you're coming home." Steph immediately felt the weight of the moment. The real world was still there. His actual world. His wife, his children, his legacy. He started the car. That night at dinner, he was unusually quiet. Aisha noticed, of course, she always did. "Everything cool with the shoot?" she asked gently, passing him a bowl of roasted vegetables. "Yeah," he said quickly, avoiding her eyes. "Just tired. Long day." She nodded but didn't press further. Later, after the kids were in bed, they sat together on the couch watching a documentary. But Steph wasn't really watching. He kept glancing at his phone, even though the screen stayed dark. Part of him hoped Madison wouldn't write again. Another part hoped she would. Suddenly, Aisha looked over at him. "You've been weird lately," she said softly. Steph forced a chuckle. "Weird how? You're distant. Distracted, even at dinner. You weren't really with us." He leaned back against the couch and sighed. "It's nothing. Just a lot on my mind." "Is it something I should be worried about?" she asked. He hesitated, just long enough to make her eyes narrow slightly. "No," he said firmly, looking straight ahead. "Nothing like that." But even as he said it, a knot formed in his stomach, because deep down, he wasn't so sure anymore. That night, as Aisha slept beside him, Steph turned away from her and unlocked his phone. No new messages. Still, he scrolled back through the short thread between him and Madison, and then he did something he didn't fully understand himself. He clicked on her profile and liked a photo of her and Eli. It was subtle, invisible to most, but for Steph Curry, it was a quiet crack forming in the surface of the life he'd built, and cracks, if ignored, only grow wider. The silence at breakfast that Friday was heavier than usual. The kids chatted happily, oblivious, while Aisha moved around the kitchen with mechanical precision. She hadn't said much to Steph since the night he brushed off her concerns. He noticed the change in her tone, in the way she avoided his eyes. He'd planned to reset that morning, put the messages behind him, refocus on his family. But life had other plans. Later that afternoon, Aisha was in her home office, organizing a digital photo archive for an upcoming cookbook. She clicked open a shared family folder, and then noticed something strange. One of Steph's backup folders had synced. She hadn't seen it before. Curious, she clicked. Inside were several screenshots, most of them harmless, inspirational quotes, old basketball stats, memes. But one image stood out, a screenshot of an Instagram chat. Her heart skipped. She zoomed in. The name was unfamiliar, Madison Taylor. Her eyes scanned the words quickly. Her hands turned cold. "I've been thinking about you a lot lately. Just wanted to feel connected to someone who once made me feel seen." Eli's 9 now. And then Steph's reply, "What's going on? Are you okay?" Aisha sat back in her chair, stunned. She wasn't the type to jump to conclusions. She trusted her husband. They'd been through the storms, injuries, media scandals, pressure, fame. But this wasn't about the world. This was personal. That evening, after dinner and after the kids had gone to bed, she didn't wait. She walked into the living room holding her phone and said one word, "Steph." He turned around slowly. He saw the look in her eyes and knew instantly this wasn't just about dinner or distractions. What's going on with you and Madison Taylor? The room fell silent. He opened his mouth, then closed it. For once, words failed him. I found the screenshot, she continued. I wasn't looking for anything, it just popped up. But now I need to ask, what is this? Steph rubbed his face, exhaling hard. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, Aisha said, her voice trembling, not with rage, but with hurt. She messaged me out of nowhere, he said. I wasn't expecting it. We haven't talked in over a decade. She said she's been going through some stuff and just needed someone to talk to. Aisha crossed her arms. And you thought you should be that person? I didn't mean for it to go anywhere. I replied once, then again. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to make something out of nothing. But now it's something, Steph. It's clearly not nothing to her. And the fact that you hid it from me, that's what hurts the most. He looked down, ashamed. I never cheated. I never crossed the line, he said quietly. But you let her into your head, into your heart maybe. And that's not nothing. Stephen, Aisha's voice cracked on the last word. For a long moment they just stood there, two people who had built a life together, suddenly standing on opposite sides of a truth they couldn't ignore. I married you, she whispered. Not just the public you, the real you. I deserve your full honesty, all of it. Steph nodded slowly, eyes welling. You're right. So what now? She asked. I'll cut it off, he said firmly. I should have done it the moment. I saw her name, I got caught in a memory. But I'm here, this is my life. You are my life. Aisha wiped a tear from her cheek, but said nothing. Later that night, Steph sat alone in his office, staring at Madison's chat thread one last time. He typed, Hey, I can't keep this going. I shouldn't have replied in the first place. I'm sorry for whatever you're going through, but I have to be honest with myself and with my wife. Take care of Eli. I wish you well. He pressed send, then he blocked the account. It was over, or at least, he thought it was. 2 weeks had passed since Stephen blocked Madison. Things at home were slowly returning to normal. He and Aisha were talking more. The tension had softened, but not disappeared. Some wounds take time and effort to fully heal. He was making that effort. No more late-night scrolling, no more distractions, just his family, his work, and being present. But the past has a way of catching up. It was a Thursday morning when Steph's agent called him in a panic. Turn on ESPN. Now, Steph grabbed the remote and flicked on the TV. There it was. National headline. Steph Curry's old flame speaks out. We reconnected, but I didn't mean to break anything. The segment cut to a Zoom-style interview. Madison sitting in what looked like her kitchen, eyes sincere but clearly emotional. I didn't expect any of this, she said to the host. I sent him a message thinking he'd never even see it. He replied, and it meant something to me. I wasn't trying to ruin his life. I wasn't trying to come between him and his wife. I was in a lonely place. I made a mistake by speaking publicly now. I see that. But I don't want people to twist the truth. He never disrespected her. He was kind to me. That's all. Steph turned the TV off, heart pounding. The phone started ringing. His manager, PR reps, friends, strangers. Social media was on fire, speculation, judgment, memes, Steph's secret DMs. Everyone had an opinion. He walked to the kitchen, where Aisha was scrolling through her phone. She looked up at him with tired eyes, not angry, just exhausted. I didn't know she would do this, Steph said quietly. Aisha nodded. I know, but now everyone else does. That night, they sat down together and talked. Really talked. Not about blame, about moving forward. This doesn't define us, Aisha said, her hand in his, but how we deal with it might. The next morning, Steph made a choice. He agreed to appear on The Pivot, a podcast he trusted, somewhere he could speak without filters or headlines twisting his words. When the episode dropped, fans and critics alike stopped scrolling to listen. I made a mistake, Steph said into the mic, not by cheating, not by being unfaithful, but by letting my mind drift to a time in my life that I hadn't fully closed. I should have shut that door the second it opened. I love my wife. I love my kids. And I've learned that emotional loyalty is just as sacred as physical loyalty. We're human. We stumble. But real strength is in owning it, repairing it, and choosing every day to be better. And I'm choosing my family loudly and publicly. The clip went viral. Some fans applauded, some judged, but many understood. Back home, Aisha watched the interview from the living room, holding Steph's hand. She didn't say much afterward. She just rested her head on his shoulder. For the first time in weeks, he felt like the noise had finally faded. They were still standing, not perfect, but together, and that, in the end, was enough.